YouTube, what up, though? If you want to see my screen, that'd be best for you to go directly live on YouTube. Um, so just looking at a couple things here in the pre-market. So all right, everybody, are we ready to go? All right, so let's break this thing down. So I had AVGO up here, taking a look at them in the pre-market, not really flat this morning, but you got ticker Tesla that's looking to break out over 474. So so far it's gotten above this 468 level. But honestly, over this 474, Tesla's going to run to 480. And then after that, 500. There's not really much stopping Tesla from taking this move to the upside at all anymore. So if it can crack, keyword if it cracks over that 480, you are going to see Tesla run to 500. So the question is right now, we all know how Tesla can be. Are the gains going to actually hold? Because I mean, this is the part of that 474 is going to be a very, very critical level. So Tesla is running here in the pre-market. They did get a upgrade from Wedbush Securities. You guys know Dan Ives from Wedbush. You should be following him on Twitter if you're not already. But him and his company, they upgraded Tesla this morning. So that's why they had, if you don't know, Dan Ives is one of the biggest bulls on Tesla. So that's why you have Tesla with shot up there. All right. So just quick notes on Tesla. For people that are looking at Tesla, you can go ahead and go to the YouTube directly. Look on my YouTube so you can see my screen. We are live here on the tube. Right. So we got only a 30-minute pre-market session. So we got looks like about 14 people that's watching here this morning. Let me share the link because I know some people probably can't find the link. Let me go ahead and just share that link. But you guys directly should be able to see pre-market conversation. Next thing that we want to go ahead and break down. So Tesla ended up gapping up once again overnight. So you should see that here early in the morning. You also have a couple other things that I want to discuss. First thing that I want to talk about, second thing that I want to talk about here today is Oracle. So ticker ORACL, Oracle, ORCL, excuse me. So watch Oracle today. At my levels real quick. 1 second. There we go. So Oracle, the longer that it stays below, hold on, allow. The longer that it actually stays below this 190, the easier it's going to be for Oracle to come down to 178. So I would definitely be paying attention. Oracle, as long as if it stays underneath this 190 this week, a major opportunity for it to pull back to that 178. So, yep. This is why I wanted to make sure that you guys are watching Oracle. Levels to the downside is underneath that 178. I'm more so looking at Oracle from a long-term investor perspective. I think that's the main reason that I've been covering the stock as much. I think there's a habit of people wanting to get names at all-time highs, but when these stocks actually go ahead and they pull back here to this downside, what we end up seeing is people are not aggressively actually looking to buy because there's a high probability, right, that Oracle erases all their gains from April, right? This is a high chance, a high probability that happens. The question is, though, are you going to buy Oracle if it comes down to 120? Because at 330, all I was hearing was 400. Now we're back here at 188. And I'm letting you know here now, there's a large chance and a strong possibility that Oracle can pull back down here further. So, looking here, what I want to be able to stress to you guys is paying attention, right, to these macro levels, super, super, super duper important. Paying attention to these macro levels. Yes. So is everybody clear on Oracle, where they should be looking to be a buyer? All right. Looking to be a buyer. Does everybody know where they should be looking to be a buyer? If you know where you should be looking to be a buyer, I want you to put the levels in the chat. So what I don't want to happen is hold on one second. What I don't want to happen is you guys to miss these key opportunities of where you should actually be looking to long-term invest into the right tickers, because some stocks pull back 50% and they're not really giving you a discount. Other names can pull back 50% and they are. In the case of OKLO, don't buy that name. Right, I'm gonna just start being more blunt about things. OKLO will go to $40. Mark my words. I'm telling you, it's gonna slash another 50%. Thank you, Rich. Rich underscore talk podcast. Thank you for that. 120 to 140. Rich, please send me a text message, please. 716-930-6783. Thank you for that. You send me a text message. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. I like people that's paying attention, that's taking notes. Be disciplined about this, because push come to shove, right? And here we go. 1 second. Make sure this. All right. So you guys should be good to go there. Right. So you guys should understand where you want to look to long-term invest and actually go ahead and get that company and that stock. So 120 to 140 is the range that you want to actually go ahead and get. Now I mentioned OKLO. I'll probably have an opportunity to cover them a little bit later. They were down $15 on Friday. So pay attention when the market pulls back, the names that slide down $20, $15 very quickly. Those are the names where ultimately, those, unless they are a low floater, right? That's the only exception to the rule. But if they're falling that much on just one red day, usually, 10, 15%, that means that people don't really believe in that ticker as much as what you really think so, right? Those stocks are not really believed as much as what you might think. Next thing I want to talk about is MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy is actually about to go ahead and probably break here to this downside. So on MSTR, I want you to watch a couple things here. The break underneath what we're seeing right now here on MicroStrategy is if we can see this move and come all the way down to $152, that's likely the next move that we're actually going to see, right? Is us actually getting here to this downside and us breaking all the way here on the downside. So, yep. When you are able to see that, right? And when you're able to, when you're actually able to go ahead and see this move here down, you can actually get to 152. Yeah. Right. So take that note on that. You are going to look for MSTR to actually get down here to those levels. Right. So $152 is likely the next, especially if Bitcoin pulls back. I think you will see 152 materialize pretty quickly with a strong Bitcoin pullback. That's the only way that that's going to happen, though. So I do want to keep that. We are sitting right here on this trend line right now. So it's definitely likely. All right. So those are my thoughts at this time on MicroStrategy. Next thing I want to cover is Coinbase Global Inc. Right. So here on Coin right now, same thing, trading within the same zone. So you have a lot of stocks, a lot of times, especially here in December, the volume is a lot lower. So you have a lot of stocks that are actually just range bound, and actually just sitting here side by side. So that's exactly what you end up seeing, here on Connell. And so ticker Connell, which is the 2x levered ETF of Coinbase. Ideally, you want to get that thing around $9 to $12. So what I've been saying is any price over $200, you should not be looking to buy Coinbase. What I'm finding is a lot of people do not know what you're purchasing. That's one of the biggest mistakes that's happening is people do not know where they're actually buying equities. You don't know where you're purchasing tickers. You're buying names and you're not buying businesses. And I'm going to say that again, right? You're buying names, not businesses. And that's why I want to stress that to you guys here right now. You're buying names, not the businesses. So you're just buying the ticker, not paying attention to the actual fundamentals, but hoping that where you buy, the stock ends up going up without knowing exactly what you're putting your money into. And that's the great mistake that many people make every single time. You buy names of companies, right? You're buying names of companies off of Twitter or whatever platform that you listen to, instead of actually dissecting the DNA. So in my opinion, Coinbase underneath 200 would be where you would be able to get some level and form of a discount, right? So I'm controlling this thing. All tickers will run through me today, so there will not be any ticker questions or ticker recommendations, unfortunately. So we're going to move on. Next tickers that I have that I want to cover of quality, right? We're only covering companies of quality here today, right? So what I want to stress to you guys is here with Meta. What I would watch this week is 638. 638. Underneath 638, right? If you are looking at Meta platforms, you could see a move down potentially to 632. If you don't see a break underneath 638, it's likely that you're going to see Meta come right back up and test the 651 level. Another name that's trading right here within the zone. You're not seeing much activity outside of this trading zone so far. So those are the levels that you want to look out for on this ticker at this time. Now you see Tesla going up. That's cool and all. But the other names in the NASDAQ are virtually flat. So a lot of times when Tesla does go in their biggest runs, it's usually sometimes when the market is coming down or when the rest of the market is flat. So Tesla obviously has garnered investors' attention right now because Tesla is up here almost 2.5%. But yet the rest of the market, for the most part, you do have MU, which is up $6. They have earnings this week. Micron Technologies. But the rest of the market is kind of up a few dollars here, a few dollars there, not in a large fashion. So for those just coming in, we already covered Tesla, but $474 will likely be the level that Tesla tries to test here at open, right? So here at open, I'm controlling tickers today, so please don't ask me about tickers. I'm controlling this thing today. Palantir is the next ticker on the docket, right? So PLTR, I told you guys that it'd be very similar. I want you guys to watch Palantir as well, but over $190. I want you to watch that area and that level here on Palantir, right? So when you are looking on Palantir Technologies, right, look at this break over 190. Very similar setup to Tesla as well, but you got to see this break over 190. It gets over that, it's likely that you could see Palantir get back above 192 and then move to 200. So Palantir is in a bull flag pattern. So like I said, you do want to watch Palantir. If we can actually go ahead and get a break, and we got 15 minutes left until the market opens up, right? 15 minutes until open, right? You do got to see a break above right here on Palantir, above 180, above 185. And then after you see that break above 185, you got to move over to $192, right? So 190 and $192 is going to be pretty much the main levels that you want to pay attention to. So that's what you want to look out for there on Palantir. So once we can get Palantir to get above those levels, that's going to be the area that you want to look out for. So yeah. So Palantir Technologies, look at those in that regard. So yeah. Next thing, we're going to move on. Let's talk Nvidia. So Nvidia bounced here this morning at 174. So we actually seen it come right off that 174 level. Same thing, trading right here within a zone. And let me also pull up Broadcom now. Now we'll get to AVGO. Broadcom right now here, pre-market is at 360 bucks. All right, so we got both of these tickers up simultaneously and both at key support levels right now. Now, Broadcom just started trading on Friday, just started trading below their diagonal trend line that we actually started here back in August, right? So they briefly got below there in November for about maybe 5 to 6 sessions. Ended up rallying there to the upside. If buyers are going to step in, it's going to be here on AVGO. If buyers are going to step in on Nvidia, it is going to be right here, right now. So $174. If we do not see, right, if we do not see Nvidia get below that 174, we can't pull down to the 169, right? So on the smaller time frames, when you are looking, we got 13 minutes until the market opens. So you should be taking these notes. One thing, don't never have me on is background noise. If you're going to be on the live, be serious and take these notes down and set your alerts. A lot of times people are not setting their alerts, so you don't know what's happening. Also, when you don't prepare, you don't play well. I said this yesterday and I'll say this again. For the people that wasn't here this weekend, you're probably it probably be in your best interest. Don't come into the market open looking and fishing for what the move is when you ain't play. You know, when you don't watch film, when you don't actually prepare, you don't play well. Sorry, Cowboys fans. Last night they wasn't prepared and they wasn't ready. You don't play well when you're not prepared. So you lay a goose egg, you get whacked. When you don't prepare, you get cooked. That's just what it is. So how you prepare is how you're going to play. So if you didn't prepare on the weekend, but you come in Monday or Tuesday morning thinking that, hey, I'm about to do something in this market. What's the move? What's the play? Your play should already be mapped out for the week, honestly, on Saturdays and Sundays. You shouldn't really be doing too many things off script. Just reality. You shouldn't be doing too many things off script. So while we're stuck within this range, there's no clear and solid direction. On Nvidia, if we get underneath this 170, we are likely to pull back down to 160 bucks. On AVGO, we need to see a rally back up. Here, a break over 364, 365 area would be perfect to start to do that. If we don't break that today, we'll probably stay range bound. The level on the downside on AVGO is going to be 354. So put that level down. So there shouldn't be no questions on AVGO. Level on the downside is 354. So 354 shouldn't hit. And what's happening in AVGO? You should know. Just like if Tesla cracks that 474, once again, when you prepare, you play better. Don't come into this thing not preparing and expecting to play well. Just the reality. Let's go to the indices. We got some more things. We got 10 minutes until the market opens. QQQ right here at 618. Same levels that I said from Friday. The same levels we broke down is going to be what? The same levels back on the upside. You also got the SPY approaching here at 685.89. So both indices right now are both approaching major resistance points. So both indices are approaching major resistance points. So we can see a pull, right? So if we can see a move up to the upside, 618, what's going on, Steve? Just send me a DM, bro. We go way back. So just send me a DM so you can get inside these classes. I think I sent you one. I know Mr. Dana spoke to you about me. Mr. Dana's been able to learn this information from me. And I'm glad you was honest. You said you're interested, but I'm confused. I appreciate your honesty, right? So this thing can be, I'm glad that, you know, someone like yourself is being honest. And there's other people out there, I'm sure, that are confused, right? This is a language at the end of the day. And so if you don't, and I'm so glad that you said that, you know, one thing I know about you is you being confused about this, you wouldn't put your money in something that you're confused about. But you got people out here that's going to be putting their money into instruments and vehicles and things that they don't understand and they don't have education, right? So if you don't understand something, right, if you can't read a chart, there's no way you should be trading an option. That's what we call hopium. You hoping for something to happen for you the right way. Don't be hopeful. Actually take the time to learn and then you're going to earn. In order to really learn this information, it's not going to just be a 2-week class that you join. You're going to really need to lock in with me for months at a time to really learn this information. We got proof in the pudding. Shout out to Mandy. I'm sure she's here. Shout out to Fozzie. Shout out to Remar. Shout out to Cleve. Shout out to Marnie. Shout out to all my students that's in the building that tap in with me every single week, that's been rocking with me since 2020, 2021, 2022, that can trade on their own and been able to build 6-7 figure portfolios. Shout out to my people that tapped in with me in 2023, 2024, that's been around for a few years, but you understand the information now, right? I see Mills Montana in the building, right? It takes time and it takes reps. And it's just, it's no different than anything else that you're going to do. It's going to take you getting those reps in. So I think that's, once again, very, very, very important for people to know. So this just isn't going to happen overnight, right? So make sure, that people are here on this YouTube so you guys can see this screen. So right now we just made, on Friday, we broke below 618. That's going to be the same level back on the upside. I see you guys in the building, right? So when you're actually able to get a break above, right, this 686 essentially on the SPY, I think that you'll go back to an all-time high. That's just my opinion, right? If we can get this break over 686, the SPY will go back to an all-time high. But we've been trading once again within this same range and same zone. It's very choppy and top heavy right now. So nothing is really at a discount. That's why it's just trading. If you notice, this trading volume since November, the last couple of days of November, has been pretty dry, right? And so we went up to 626 last week once the Fed Reserve came out. And then on Friday, we sold off because the number 4 ticker in the NASDAQ ended up coming off, and the number 5 ticker in the S&P 500, right? And so when you are taking a look here, I'm actually able to go ahead and do this for you right now. When you are looking here, you do have the S&P 500, like I said, approaching here at 685. So if we don't, or 686, excuse me, if we don't break and we reject, we are going to be, going to go ahead and pull down. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And Steve Brown's in the building. I just want to ask you this question before I let you go. And I know you're going to send me a text as well. So lock me in, 716-930-6783. I just want you to tell the people, because, sometimes I want you to tell them how long you've been knowing me. I'm 26 now. I can imagine the first time that me and you met, I think I was probably about at least 12 or 13. So you've known me at least, that's half my life. I just want you to illustrate what you've seen me from then versus now. You get what I'm saying? As far as just me, just business-wise, entrepreneur-wise, I want people to understand where I started at versus where I'm at now, right? Because none of this would have been possible, right? And I just want to give my flowers to, I always do this, but I like to give my flowers to Mr. Dana. That's just the person that I am, right? And he was one of the main people that instilled, because I didn't really have a father figure in my life. But it was Mr. Dana who was integral part in my life, as far as he was my barber. But every time I sat down in his chair, he was not just my barber, he was also my mentor, right? So no, he didn't teach me necessarily about stocks, but he taught me about entrepreneurship. He also taught me through his mistakes, things that he may have done wrong that he didn't want me to do. You get what I'm saying? So he wanted me to be better, right? And so he taught me through some of the mistakes that he made. He highlighted those things and said, yo, L, this is the things that I want you to focus on and do. And one thing that Mr. Dana told me in his chair that I'll never forget any day in my life, right? He literally told me, he said, control what you can control. So each and every single day I look at it and I'm like, man, control what I can control, right? That is like the type of wisdom where, especially as a young man, there can be sometimes where there can be stuff that discourages you. You get hit with maybe a trial or a tribulation, and you're like, man, I'm about to slow down. But nah, you got to control what you can control. So if you can't control it, control what you can control. And what you can control is yourself. You know what I mean? So I do think that's, 100% super, super duper important for me to highlight. So want to give you your flowers, Mr. Dana, his flowers for being in here today. All right. So let's get it back to the market. So, 617, 63, 686. Those are your levels there on the S&P 500. Now let's talk about AMD, right? So on AMD, when you are looking at AM's Dizzle, you want to watch AMD back above 213. If AMD breaks back above 213, you could probably see a move back to 220. On the downside action on AMD, it will be below 209 this week, so put that down. If AMD breaks underneath 209, it is going to go down to about 202 to 204. So those are my levels there on AMD, right? If you can actually get below 209, you want to look at underneath there, come down to 202 to 204. So that's where you're going to look at for AMD, right? We got 3 minutes until the market opens up. Excuse me. 3 minutes until the market opens up. Next stock to talk about is Netflix. I'll leave my S&P 500 up. So Netflix likely this week, we've seen a move all the way from $92 back to almost 96. So you're likely going to see this rejection here at $96, in my opinion, right? If you don't get over this 96, you can see a reject. If it gets over 96, it's going to move back up to $100. So you are creating a wedge pattern here. So if Netflix does not get over $96.79, you're likely to go ahead and pull back. All right. So the rest of the market is pretty much flat for today, guys. So that's pretty much it. I'm controlling all tickers for today. So just the tickers that I want to cover. No ticker recommendations at all here. Oracle, you have that. Broadcom, 354 on the downside, 365 and 366 on the upside to take you back over to 370. All right. So those are really all of the main notes. MU has earnings this week. That's probably one of the major contributors. That'll be Wednesday at 4 p.m. So Wednesday afternoon, MU will go ahead and report their earnings. Watch the SPY here at 686. If it breaks over 686, it's going to go back to 690. On the QQQ over 618 and change, you'll be back up to 621, right? So look at that. So 621 would be the short-term wall on this specific on a QQQ. So 618, we just reclaimed that. Tesla, watching Tesla above 474. If it breaks 474, it's likely to gap quickly and go all the way up and get to that 484 level. So look for that. Definitely watch Tesla right there. It'll face some resistance here at 472, but at 474 level will be very critical and important. So TSLA is right there. And the market's about to open up in less than 20 seconds here. So let's go ahead and drop them bells in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing up here now. This was just a little pre-market. For my community, we'll be back on live trading tomorrow. So live trading will begin again tomorrow. We do have class this evening, though, so don't miss class. We do have classes lined up this evening. So if you're a beginner, we got classes ready for you. We've done 2 beginner classes. We have beginner classes lined up. We'll finish our beginner classes for the week tomorrow. So the market is just opened up. Pay attention to Tesla, like I said, at 470. So the bell just rang. 9:30 bell. Watch this 474. We'll stick around here there we go. That volume came in, that rush. Hold on a second. We'll keep it open right there. Yep. It's trying to go crack it. 470, 473. Trying to go crack it. Trying to crack open the top. There it is. Right there. 474. Boom. Right there. Now, can it hold at 474? Right within the first opening candle. Not even a minute into the market. Right there. Volume is strong. Got to stay above 470. That 474 is going to be very key. Keep your eyes on the SPY and the QQQ. If you're watching, keep your eyes there on the SPY and the QQQ ETF. Very, 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 very important. So Tesla there trying to break out. There we go. You got it right there. 474. Well, you see it sliding down a second. So it got to remain above there. Oracle is down $4 already. I'll bring them over 475 right there. That's when Tesla got that volume. They about to go kiss 480. All right. Now Oracle here. Yeah, let Tesla's trying to go kiss that 480 early. Oracle just broke down here. It is coming down here to that 178. So Oracle is breaking down outside of this bear flag. So watch it here on Oracle. It tried to, it's about to go test that 178. I don't think 178 will happen today on Oracle, but it is going to happen because it's breaking the downside of this flag pattern. So you got Tesla doing one thing, and this is what I say. Sometimes when the rest of the market is maybe a little choppy or sideways, sometimes maybe even going down, you could see that. But Tesla right there, 477. There you go. So you got Oracle right there as support. And then you, anytime you're watching a specific ticker, you should always try to keep up the index as well. So like right now, you notice that the Qs are not really quite breaking, right? This 618. So as Tesla gets ready to approach 480, if you don't see the Qs breaking out over resistance and Tesla's still trying to push, right? We are going to, like I said, see, right? So right there, 477, trying to crack it, trying to push upward. So 480 right there has that strong volume. Broadcom 357, just got the alert. I set an alert on that. MU 250, Meta Platform 642, and the SPY is right there, pulling back as well with the QQQ. So right there. Yep. So you see the Qs are not trying to really break over that level right now. So you got that there. All right. So you got the QQQ 617. Let's see if it. So you got to see that break over that. Otherwise, market to pull back. So Tesla right there. It's likely to, if the Qs don't continue to push up, if you just watch it simultaneously, you're paying attention to my screen. Notice as the Qs are kind of rejecting off that 618, see how Tesla is pulling back here. So that's just a good rule of thumb. If you don't see the index breaking over a level, it may be time for you to sell. You want to sell into strength, right? You don't never want to buy into strength. You want to sell into strength. So if you're long a ticker and it's pushing to the upside, but the index is coming down, you would rather sell into strength, right? So this is the time, honestly, to look to sell Tesla, right? Sell into strength, right? You want to sell into strength. Buy when there's weakness. Sell into strength, buy when there's weakness, right? So Tesla showed you a strong open, right? But now the QQQ is not getting over that 618. So it's going to be a struggle. Not to say that Tesla can't, but it is going to struggle unless QQQ can make it above 618. If QQQ gets above 16, Tesla will fly over 480, no problem. It'll fly over 480. Because when you have a stock that has trending volume and is moving, it will fly over those levels, right? But now it's going to struggle. Now it's going to struggle. That's why you got Oracle here down, and a couple of these other tickers as well too. Meta Platforms kind of slightly down. Apple's flat, right? But at this 478. So if you can get QQQ to get above this 618, Tesla break 480, no problem, right? And it could do it without it. It might do it just has that level of volume. So this is when you know a ticker has relative strength. So like on Friday, when I mentioned Tesla was up $12, but the rest of the market was down, that lets you know that that company had relative strength. Anytime you see a company that's green, but the overall market is down, that means the stock has relative strength. So there we go. You have relative strength here. And pull up. Yep. My goodness. Palantir. There we go. So I wanted to bring up Palantir because I know some people are going to look at, right? Some people are going to go ahead and actually look here at Tesla and they're going to get googly eyed with it, right? You're going to get googly eyed and you're going to see and you're going to say, well, man, Tesla ended up, doing this, and you get caught and you get googly eyed here, I don't want that to actually go ahead and happen. I want you to actually look and see if you can actually go ahead and now with Palantir, you got the same setup actually that's about to occur here with Palantir. I'm gonna tell you right now, Palantir, like we just said in the pre-market, if you pay attention to PLTR, it has the same setup as Tesla. It just ain't went yet. But once Palantir cracked this 190, it's over. So this is right here in a flag consolidation. Palantir, once it breaks over that 190, it's going to crack and run and it'll be back to like 195 to 200, right? Very, very quickly and easily, right? 195 and 200 plus, right? So Palantir, now where do both of these things belong? I'm gonna pull away from Tesla just for a second, but if it hits 480, just put 480 in the chat for me, all right? Now you're looking here as well on the ARK ETF. These are two tickers within the ARK, the same setup. So now I have, right, went to three different tickers, two stocks, one ETF, and you got the same setup. This is what you now consider to be a high probability. Because now I know if the ARK can actually go ahead and get above, right, and we get above this point and break over this 83, top of this flag, we can go ahead and crack. So I'll be watching Palantir. Don't get caught if you're not already in Tesla. Don't get caught chasing Tesla. This is where people lose money. I'm about to tell you here now. Don't get caught chasing Tesla. Just hit 480. There we go. Right. So that level, that hard resistance level is at 484. So it's about to probably run into there, cracked over that 470 or 474 quickly. But now you still have Palantir, right? So now you still have Palantir right here that's creating this flag pattern. So don't get caught because all this happened within what? This is the first 8 minutes to open. So that means if you wasn't swing trading a Tesla call, right, you weren't really going to be able to catch this position right there, right? AVGO just hit 354. My alert just went off there. Qs are still at 616. So that in a nutshell breaks everything down for you. Netflix is back down to even flat for today. Nvidia is still at 176. On any upside, yeah, the Qs probably won't be able to really break out unless Nvidia starts to cook too. Because you got 2 out of 3, and Microsoft and Apple aren't doing anything either. So that makes it 4 out of, yeah. Apple's down $1. Yeah, so it's going to be hard for the Qs to cook back over that 618. So, yeah, it's going to be absolutely hard for the Qs to get over 618 at this time. Absolutely hard for them to do that. So, yeah. Tesla just hit 480, pull back. We're back here on the QQQ at 615. So to try to run, you got Oracle at 184. AMD is up about $1 and change. Not really too much though. Flat, you got Nvidia right now, which is still holding above 174. So yeah, if you see any downside action, it's going to come with the Qs underneath 610 this week. And Nvidia would have to get underneath 174. Apple breaks underneath 274. They will pull back down to 268. All right. The SPY is still up here at 684. 680 will be their pullback zone. So you're still right there, stuck, like I said, stuck right there in the range in the middle. So until you see the break, I would, like I said, watch Palantir, right? If you can see Palantir actually get, if you could actually go ahead and see Palantir get above that 190, that's what you're going to pay attention to on Palantir at this time. So, yep. Yep, on Palantir at that time. So, yep. That's really that. That's all I really have for right now. And so we will be back live trading tomorrow. And I'll wrap up here for today. So I appreciate it, man, at this time. But yeah, this is pretty much what I'm watching for right now and paying attention to as well here on the QQQ. And the rest of everything that I'm in or currently looking at for this time. All right. So that's that. MU reports on Wednesday after hours. Okay, perfect there. Report. So yeah, Nvidia needs to hold at 174. AMD is 213. I see AVGOs right there at 353. You got Tesla, which is here back here up at 481. So Tesla need to get above 484. Oracle's right there at 184, just rounding about all the tickers. AVGO's down 7 early, but I'll let that play out. All my, all my price alerts just went off at one time. So just going through those. Qs, watch, like I said, on the QQQ, you want to watch the QQQ actually get above here at 618. That's going to have to be the level. You don't get above 618, it'll just stay within its range, honestly, unless it gets below 610. 610 would be your pivot point area. I still think you're seeing a little bit of residue selling from AVGO from Friday, but I have March contracts on that, so sit tight and wait on them. I'm comfortable where I got it at. So that's that. Let's see here. Yeah, Nvidia there. Amazon 225. Meta 648. H. Apple 275 and change. Yep, so that's really that. So we still, like I said, still right here within this range. So you get a break over 618. That's what you can pay attention to. So those are my thoughts at this time. Right. Appreciate everybody. Wrap this thing up. Peace.